Hello, this is John, and welcome back to our series about how to rank your business higher in the Google search engines, especially on the Google Maps section of the internet for your search term. And again, this is so important. We talked about before how 70% of the people that look on the internet, they're looking on Google first. So this is really a critical place to be, and so it's really important that we get into the exact details of how this is going to happen. In fact, it's kind of like that old story with the bank robbers. Someone once asked, I forget who it was, maybe it was Jesse James or something. The story goes that they asked him, "Why do you rob banks?" And the answer was, "That's where the money is." So why are we doing all this? We're doing this because people are going on to Google. That's just a fact of life now these days. So if you are not up to date on what it takes for your company to be on page one of Google, you're really just kind of behind the times. So today we're going to talk more in detail about these citations. We talked a little bit about last week, about the last video, about getting onto things like Yelp, Merchant Circle. These are all citation sites where you can list your name, address, and phone number. Each time those are listed on a different directory, it kind of counts like a vote. And the more votes you have, then Google says, wow, you're getting all these votes from all these different citations. You must be an important site. We're going to rank you higher. That's kind of like how it works. So we use a tool and a site known as WhiteSpark. And with WhiteSpark, what you can do is you can reverse engineer what's happening with the citations in your exact particular marketplace. So in other words, if I put in this local citation finder, if I put in Petaluma dentist, what's going to happen in about 5 minutes, they're going to email me a list. The list is going to look like this. And you can see on this list, we now have an exact amount of citations that we know. It lists the top 7 companies that are in the Maps listing on page 1 of Google. It lists the amount of citations they have. So this is fantastic information. Now we know the very top dentist in Petaluma has 192 citations. There are some dentists within the top 7 pack that have 53. So we definitely have to have at least 53. And really we want to top. Whoever has the most, we want to get more, at least a little bit more than that. So we can go for getting maybe 200 citations. And believe me, it's possible. There are hundreds of these citation sites. So this is really important information. Now we can reverse engineer and we know what we need to aim for. In fact, if you go up and look, here's a close-up of these citation sites. We can actually, where it says view sources, we can actually see the exact citations each of these competitors are using. So now we know which citations exactly, we can go after the same ones. And you'll also see that some of these citations have a different DA. That DA number stands for domain authority. The higher the better. So, in other words, if you get a citation that's on a higher ranking site, in one sense, not all votes are equal when it comes to citations. Some citation sites, like Manta, is a very high domain authority. If you put a citation on Manta, it's higher than some other directory sites that are out there. So, you want to get as many citations as possible, and you want to get as many citations, especially on the high domain authority ones. So this is how we reverse engineer citations. And again, it's also very important that the citations be very precise. They need to match exactly your Google Plus page. So if your Google Plus page says 123 Main Street, Suite 700, you don't want to have on any of your citations 123 Main Street, number 700. It should be Suite, spelled out S-U-I-T-E, exactly. So that's very important because, again, we're dealing with a computer algorithm, so this precision really counts in these areas. So that's basically it for citations. Now, there's another very important factor that we use for these campaigns. That's called call tracking. Call tracking allows us to really measure and know what's going on with our campaign. Otherwise, it's kind of like we're in the dark. You know, you don't want to be driving down a windy road in the dark, not being able to see. That's what it's like without call tracking. You don't know if the campaign's working, if it's not working. But with call tracking, you can know precisely. So we like to use this company called CallFire. CallFire allows you to get a phone number with the same area code that you have, and what it does is that phone number you would put in your Google Plus page, in your Google Plus listing area, and what's going to happen is that phone number is going to automatically forward to your main phone number that you normally use. And what this accomplishes is this allows you to know exactly how many calls you're getting. So you know if the campaign's working or not. If it's not working, you need to do something else that's going to work. But it also lets you know the length of each call. If you're getting a 3 to 5 minute call, that means probably there's a good conversation going on. If it's a 10-second call, maybe it's the wrong number. But you want to know the number of calls, the time of calls, and also CallFire has the ability to record each call. And this can be really valuable. There have been some campaigns where people have used this system, they've gotten on page 1 of Google, they're getting calls, and there's still been complaints. The owners were saying, hey, we're not getting any new business from this. This isn't working. And come to find out that the problem wasn't they weren't getting a lot of calls. They were getting the calls, but the person answering the call, the secretary or whatever, was being rude, or they weren't trained properly on how to get those people to come into the office and to take some action. So that's where the work needed to be done, was on the receiving of those calls. But without call tracking, you wouldn't have known that. So that's the basics for this particular video. And we're going to have one final video that's really going to be the most important video so far, because we're going to put everything together so that you can really 100%, without any shadow of a doubt, know that you can get your company onto page 1 of Google in the Google Maps with all the benefits we talked about. The benefits, of course, of being on page 1, the fact that all Google Maps listings are mobile optimized, you have the reviews there. So all these great factors really can very practically, and this can make a fantastic difference in your business. In the next video, we're going to talk about backlinks. Maybe you've heard about backlinks, maybe you haven't heard about backlinks. But we're going to explain it exactly what it is a lot more. Briefly, Google says that if some other site that has authority links to you, you must be pretty good. So the more authority backlinks you're getting, it's like if I told you I play basketball, and you say, okay, that's nice. But then I tell you, well, I learned basketball from Michael Jordan, you're going to go, whoa, well, there must be something to him. Without knowing me or not, you're probably going to think he's probably pretty good at basketball. Well, that's kind of a gross analogy, but that's kind of how it works. Every time a site with some authority is linking back to you, Google says you must be pretty good. So we're going to all put that into the mix of ranking you higher on Google. And again, this is all done by the computer algorithm. So we're going to get into that in a lot more detail in the next video, put all the pieces together, and 100% you're going to be able to rank on the Google Maps and have your business transformed. So that's it for this video. Make sure you see the next video, and I'll see you on the next video. Okay.